Welcome once again to our Yad LaTorah DAAS Torah series. Today we have the privilege once again of speaking with Rav Leib Tropper, Shlita, on parental education. Education encompasses both educators and parents. As far as parental education, the main chiyuv obligation, the responsibility to educate one's child falls upon the father. But it is clearly a responsibility of all parents. Let's talk to Rabbi Tropper about what's involved, the responsibility, and what has to be done to make it effective.
That is such a pertinent topic. Every day we come with the rabbi with questions about how I should be mechanech my children. So I think the topic is not only about education, it's about chinuch, training my children, how to conduct myself as a parent to my children. It's important to mention that the pasuk of Hosea Chumash says, "Kabed es avicha ve'esimecha," honor your father and your mother, "L'man yavicha yamecha," in order that you be blessed with long days. And the Chayei Adam, I think, even says that honoring your parents, your father and your mother, is a chiyuv on your child, to honor the parents, even b'machshava, not just in action, but even in thought. He has to think of his parents as wonderful people and role model, and people who he could learn from, and people who he owes such gratitude to. That's what he has to think about his parents. In our turbulent times in the 2016 era of me, plus capital me, and then some more small me's, parents have to be careful not to become victims of the American and world culture, in fact, to be not just parents, but buddies, friends with our children. It's one of the greatest dangers and one of the greatest tragedies of our time, and causes much problem for children at risk, that the parents' chinuch is deficient in the area of teaching them the concept of authority, that a parent is not a buddy, not a friend, he's a parent, she's a parent, and they need to recognize that concept. Rav Dessler, I think, even at the end of one of his halakim of Rav Dessler, there's a letter he writes discussing the importance of giving your child a little patch, even just to teach him authority, not, God forbid, to hurt him. But the Gemara says the concept of mitzvah ka'avid, even if it's just you do something that educationally, like a little patch, soft patch. Yishalmi calls kibbud avim chamur shebechamuris, but you can't demand respect me. You could demand it you can learn with your child about kibbud avim, but it's like a spouse tells their wife, respect me. I mean, yes, you're supposed to be a wife you're supposed to be a husband to a wife that wants to respect you, but you can't just say respect me. You're supposed to do things that command respect.
Rather than demanding respect.
Rather than demanding respect, right? I mean, demanding it doesn't really help with an adult. It doesn't help to do things that the actions command respect, more than just. Parents represent the Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's why children have to know. I don't mean children as children, underage children. I mean overage children, 13, 14, 15, 16, up to the 20s and further on. Children have to know, but the parents that Yishalmi calls kibbud avim chamuris shebechamuris. It's one of the most serious mitzvahs in the Torah, as parents represent the authority of the Eibishter in a certain sense. That's what Chazal tell us. They represent the father. It's like the Avinu Shebashamayim that represents that kind of relationship with a child. So how could we go and just disregard that and treat a parent like a buddy or a friend? I take what I want and don't take what I don't want. That's not kibbud avim. Ad kidei kach, so much so. The Gemara says in Moed that hamake b'noi hagodol, if somebody hits his mitzvah son and above, he's over on lifnei iver. He's over on lifnei iver. He violates the commandment of do not put a stumbling stone in front of a blind man. Why? So Rashi says in Kiddushin, when Moed Rashi says that because maybe the child will so resent that patch that he got in his face, his back was hard, that he will punch his father, his parent, his mother, chas v'shalom, and will be over allowed in the Torah. So you don't do that. even more so, it's told about Rabbi Kiva Rabbi Kiva, and it's actually written, I saw in a sefer, about David Baran, the tzaddik of Yerushalayim, the Ili Yotzim and the Goyin Mamish of Yerushalayim, but David Baran, his name was, in this newly printed sefer about 2-3 years ago. It says that he never ever ordered his children to do things for him. He never commanded, he requested them to do it. Because if he commanded his children to do it and they did not do that, they would be over a issue of kibbut ava'im. They would be violating matal the mitzvahs, I say in the Torah, of kibbut ava'im. So he, rather than causing them to, he loved his children so much, he didn't want to cause them to violate the issue of the chiyuv of kibbut ava'im. So he made a request from them to please do this, to please do that, not as an order and a command. The Rabbi Yoshev, in the new sefer printed, it's Amudo Shel Olam, and that's Kuf Tzadik Beis. My friend Harav Lippi Yisrael's, and a grandson of Rabbi Yoshev, writes Shlita. He writes that the Rabbi Yoshev recorded the Chai Odom often, that a son owes a debt to the father. It's not just stam. Kibbut avim is not just a nice thing. It's a debt that he has. And actually, Reb Baruch, for those who are, for our yeshivish crowd who are visitors to this email, his YouTubes that I made over the last couple of years, I'm sure they heard in Sechtas Yavamis, the Kitzug Kibbut avim and Daf Hey and everything else, and Reb Baruch Ber has a shailif, kibbut avim is a shibud momin, or it's a shibud lashamayim. If it's a lien on the, is it like an obligation, a monetary obligation, or is it only an obligation between man and a Kadosh Baruch Hu? And Mechas Chinuch has that same shaila about whether it's with Adam Lachavero, that kibbut avim is a mitzvah with Adam Lachavero, between man and man, or between man and God. And Nafkamina is, of course, if Yom Kippur, you have to go to your father and ask him mechila, or your mother and ask him mechila. Of course, we consider it both. We consider it both because it's not possible to have the Bel Machavero without Hashem commanding it. Hashem wouldn't have commanded the Machavero, then of Kibbut Avim wouldn't know it. So, Reb Baruch Ber assumes first of all it's Adam Lashamayim. That's Reb Baruch Ber's assumption. In Yizavamas, I think it's in Siman Beis or Gimel, whatever. You'll take a look there in your Baruch Ber. But Mechas Chinuch, we all know Mitzvah Mem Beis. He discusses it at length, whether it's Adam Machavero, Adam Mamokim. Like I told you, the distinction is whether or not you have to ask Mechila every Yom Kippur, or whatever you want to ask Mechila. If it's Adam Lamakom, you have to do tshuva, and that's it. But if it's Adam Lachavero, you just have to ask Mechila. Tshuva won't help. On the end of it itself, you have to ask Mechila from your parents. The kibbut involves, even after he's nifta, or she's nifta, his mother's nifta, or his father's nifta, you must be machabed your parents. It's Medina the Gemara. There's not a question about it. There's no question. I think that it's we have to understand that obviously there's something deficient in our communication of chinuch to our children, and we let them get away with trying to be buddies, and in that way, that be buddies means, you do your thing, I do my thing, and what I do, you don't want to do. I don't want to burden you. I don't want you. We're so afraid of our children to burden them and tell them because you're afraid he's going to get yell and upset and who knows what. We missed a stage if that's what we're up to. We missed somewhere the chinuch of kibbut avim, which is our responsibility.
How early does it have to start?
As early as a child could talk. As early as a child asks for food, and he asks it in a way that you don't feel that it's appropriate. He or she asks it in an inappropriate way. Screaming when they don't get what they want right away. Crying and yelling, and you need to mechanech them that that's not a way that you get something from a parent.
This idea of how to do that, though, many parents today that I've seen younger kids say, "What do you want to do, Tatula?" It's like they're letting the child guide them, as though they feel there's something to be gained by that. There's a psychological inroad which seems to allow that. Let the child tell you what to do. Do you want to cross the street? Blah blah. Things like is that the way?
Obviously, the question is answered by itself, parents, because you see the results, the consequences of that chinuch, of that attitude. Tatula Babala, what do you want to do? You want to go to you want to go to Israel with me, or you want to stay home and you pay another $1,000 to go to $2,000 to Israel, and the hotel room costs another $2,000. Whatever they want. I mean, children want it. They ask me for a car, and I give a Ferrari, and they have to mortgage myself out and my family out to get a Ferrari for him, and then he goes crashes it, and 3 weeks later it's gone somewhere in some car repair shop, and who knows what else he does, and that is not chinuch. Chinuch is not expression of love. Is chinuch means the children should not be no deprived. Children bizman hazeh are deprived of the thing called words that no, that we can't, not because of the sake of no, but something that they shouldn't have, and you don't want them to have. You feel they shouldn't have. That is your obligation of chinuch, and otherwise you're derelict in the obligation of chinuch. Having a children is easy. Having the achrayus of children is what the Eibishter gave you children for. Carrying the achrayus responsibility to have children is not simple. Somebody came to the Chofetz Chaim for a bracha, for a child. Chofetz Chaim says, "What do you mean? It's a bracha, and you're ready for the responsibility of having a child. Are you ready for you know how to do chinuch? Are you familiar with how to be machanech a child?" I think it's in very important b'zman hazeh, particularly b'zman hazeh. We really are so enchanted with the secular world about how they machanech, because it's easier on the parent to say to them, "Yankele, what do you want to do? What kind of toy do you want?" Okay, so then the truth of the matter is, when a parent goes and buys a toy or present for a child, whether it's an adult, whether it's a child that's 7 years old, the parent sometimes thinks, what would I like if I was a child? That's also not right. The parent should be so giving to his children. When he's giving, they should think, what would the child want? Not what I want if I was him. And now that's very important. I mean, I know there's the small things, they're not trivial issues, but the concept in general is it needs to revamp the whole relationship between parent and child. How I talk to my child as an authority or as a buddy. I talk to him as someone that he needs to listen to, and it's important to listen to, and important to learn how to listen and obey. Or it's just something that I'll learn to how to obey his needs, and I'll learn to capitulate to his demands and to his attitude, and to accept him because this is the way he is. This is the way I hear people tell me all the time. This is the generation. Who created the generation? You did. Who created that? I mean, I know my father, Olav Shalom. There was a word we used in Lower East Side. It was called a chamalia. Now, it wasn't Zetz the way you think it was, but if I deserved it, he gave a chamalia. Means you get a wallop, but it wasn't a hard one that I really couldn't. It wasn't. I felt that angry at him afterwards. I didn't feel angry. I respected him, and my father showed in other examples. When I was once I made a request for something that I wanted him to buy. So he told me, Label, he says, if you'll get a special mark on your bechina, I'll consider it and I'll get it. So, unfortunately, to his chagrin, I got that mark. And now he had to buy something he didn't want to really me to have. And my father never cried. I didn't see my father ever cry. He probably cried, but I didn't see him cry. But that day I saw him cry. He begged me. He said, Label, I really want you to release me from my vow that I told you I was going to get that for you. When I saw him, like a parent like that his cares were ruchni. See, my father wasn't like a saturated with tzidkis and everything. He was just a person who did the right thing. The Eibishter told him to do. And he said to me, if you wanted me to release him from his vow. But what happened? He went to the store and he bought me something else so beautiful. He took off a day from working. We made parnasa. He wasn't a rich man. And he sat and played with me for the whole afternoon because of the fact that I accepted his request to release him from his vow. We need parents who are going to tell children what to do and not ask children what to do. To tell children on Shabbos table what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing. Whether they do it, I'm not telling you to hit your children. Tell them, have a discussion, engage them in some kind of dialogue about what's right and what's wrong to do with the parents, with friends, how to derech eretz, how important midas are. If a midas, does he consider midas important? Does she consider midas important? Find out about your children. Don't say, I don't want to invade their life. I mean, I had somebody came to my sister in Israel and says, I don't want to bother my daughter or son about this because I don't want to invade their life. He said, what do you mean it's your child? What do you mean your life? That is your life. Your life is your children. Your life. The Eibishter will look at your life and say, what did you do with your life? Means, what did you do with your children? There's no way to escape that. We need parents who know how to tell their children what is their obligations and their responsibility towards them, the parents, and towards the Eibishter, to educate them. Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzaddik Levacha, I heard this from Rav Reuben Feinstein Shlita. He said once at a Kol Yaakov gathering, he said this, that the Gemara says in Kedushin, Avedas Oviv, Avedas Rabba, if a Rebbe lost an Aveda and a father lost an Aveda, Avedas Rabba Kademis. If you try to give your Rebbe's Aveda back, lost article back first. Why? Because of a Rabbi Mevi L'chai Olam Haba, the Rebbe brings him to Olam Haba, and the Oviv Mevi L'chai Olam Hazeh, and the father brings him in this, keeps him alive in this world, furnishes him, supports him, keeps him alive, gives him a house, a bed to sleep in. So Reuben said, Rav Moshe said, it didn't say Oviv gives him a bed or gives him money. It doesn't say that. It says Mevi L'chai Olam Hazeh. And it doesn't say Rebbe teaches him Torah, it says Rebbe Mevi L'chai Olam Haba. So what does Rebbe Mevi L'chai Olam Haba mean? A Rebbe Mevi L'chai Olam Haba means a Rebbe teaches him about Olam Haba, Midas, Yerushalayim, Limud Torah, other things, not just only about Torah. And a parent gives his kid, he feeds him, he nourishes him, and he does everything that a father should be doing to a child. All those things that needs to be done, he gives him a feeling that he loves him so much that every Olam Hazeh that he does have, not with an abundance or overabundance of it, but whatever Olam Hazeh he has, he's so happy with. I have 2 grandchildren in Lakewood, and I have many grandchildren in Lakewood. I have 5 grandchildren in Lakewood, and 2 of them, I once took them to Afikam to buy them a present, and I bought them 2 books in a bookstore, Muncie. So they, the Jewish books, and they were just totally befuddled by that. Giving them 2 books, they said, "What do you mean? We're going to share?" I was like, "Which planet do they come from?" I mean, I'm giving them 2 books and saying, "No, we don't want. We're going to share." Teach your children about sharing. Teach your children about all what you think are small things in life. They're not small things. It's a difference about how a child grows up and how he becomes an adult and what his adulthood is like. I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Leib Tropper, on our Yad LaTorah, DAAS Torah series, to be continued, Be'ezrat Hashem.